Alright. Hello everybody, my name is GameCubeDude, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. How long has it been since I played this game? I think it's been like 3 weeks. Maybe longer, I don't know. No, I think it's 3. Anyway, it's a bad place to pick up in the middle of the trial from, so this ought to be funny. Anyway, today, I really just want to get this first case in England done. Okay, so let's see. If I remember correctly, last time we exposed this guy for lying. No, wait. Or no, wait. We established excuse me, that he's in debt to the accused. So let's see what the witnesses really saw.
There was blood on both the hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that.
I don't remember what voices I did for any of these guys, so I'm sure no one cares.
However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard that scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we would have seen them.
Okay.
Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment of the crime the moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to say we saw the man do it.
No, it's not. If you say you saw a stabbing, but all you actually saw was the dead body and some blood on a guy's hands, you didn't see the stabbing. That's really not what testimony is about.
Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of this case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. All right. I'll probably end up needing some help from you guys on this one. Let's review our evidence real fast. All right, so we got that's useless. The autopsy report. Name thrice fried Mason, male. 54, Brickerman. Okay, so the time and cause of death. It was 15th of February, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus due to internal hemorrhaging results from the trauma. Okay, so there's that. The crime scene photo. Dude did not have a good night. Hey, okay, there's a button missing. All right, if I know Ace Attorney, then that button missing is gonna be used in a little while. The defendant's leather gloves. Nothing too odd about them. Just blood. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Dude, you saw a dead body and you're freaked out by a little blood? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with in our first day in London.
Well, nothing will come of grumbling now.
No. By the way, Mr. McGilded is is Mr. McGilded right-handed?
Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier.
Ah, pity. If only he'd been left-handed.
I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really.
She ain't wrong. Okay, then there's the omnibus. I know that's a 3D model, so I'll check that last. There's the murder weapon. Nothing too odd about that from the start of it. A large-ish knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. It's quaintly and fancy ornamentation suggests it might be quite valuable. Neat. Debtor's Ledge. Yeah, that guy's name is in there. All right, let's start pressing. No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. Oh, right, this system. I gotta look out for one of them maybe getting caught off guard.
I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless. I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands.
He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? 'Cause he's guilty! He has to be guilty.
Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two. The salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused fingers.
Suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the chat. Might as well press this, see if anybody else reacts. Don't try to downplay this! Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know.
Ah, what? For crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. I was just trying to save us all some time.
Yeah, you don't do that in a murder trial, idiot. You have a loan of 20, guineas? Of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from the financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty?
Well, that's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend. That's a thing. That's a sure thing.
Wait, a fixture as in a rigged competition? A little guinea or 10? Whatever.
I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrowed a little spending money for the weekend.
The judge is just like, for shame. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir. This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness.
Is that really how it's supposed to work? Suspicious on whose name starts with an M? Oh, no, that I think the guy we're how do I go to people? I don't know. I think the guy who we're defending's name starts with an M. Oh, Super Sans with $2. Here's to the movie. Hope it helps. Indeed it will. Thank you very much, Super Sans. Let's see. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. All right. This is probably going to be the one that gets us some interesting details. You definitely saw that too. Blood on both hands.
Yes, sir.
No, I think I did it like a higher.
Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say.
Yes. Aha, that's the guy. That's the guy we're defending. His name is Mr. McGilded.
Only one of Mr. McGilded's gloves had any signs of blood on it.
That's right.
The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir.
He wasn't wearing these gloves.
That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly.
Will you ever play the Cuphead DLC? Nah, not interested. You're late. Did you miss it? No, you didn't miss anything. Right now, I'm just trying to find the contradiction in these testimonies. It's true that the dark colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been so easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilded's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands?
That is puzzling indeed.
This must be significant somehow. I'm sure of it. Hold on. Am I supposed to present the gloves here? You know what? I'll just try it. Didn't think so. The witness's last statement is clearly at odds with this piece of evidence.
I'm sorry, counsel, but I failed to see the connection.
Oh,
And for heaven's sake, would you kindly desist from that wide-eyed, panic-stricken look you are wont to wear?
but it's the only panic-stricken look I know. All right, so went out on a limb and the limb broke. Dang it.
Hold it!
You didn't see anything?
Oh, yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir, I didn't.
Wait, I can, yeah, there's nothing to pursue.
Very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir?
I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories.
Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it?
No, sir. I saw nothing at all.
Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you, must have enjoyed a good view of London's streets, no? Oh, for the love of gracious. Oh, please, you didn't even see that?
It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. Sorry to say, sir.
It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights.
Beppo!
The Fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that car. Oh, okay. Well, let's try this one. And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus.
That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh, yes. I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter.
Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh? Why not?
It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked? Could the driver of the carriage be someone to suspect? Unlikely. I mean, he was driving the carriage.
That's right! And it's public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I would call fair play.
Yes, I had the exact same experience.
Still nothing from either of them.
I tried knocking, but the gents inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up on the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you, I wasn't just looking down. I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed.
Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? They might not have been able to. I'm gonna go with that one. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. Was there a record of when the omnibus stopped and when the murder happened? There was not. I'd already checked the court record and no such thing is there. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
What's good? Pretty much everything. Just sitting back playing some Ace Attorney. In that case, is there a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you? Oh, I know where this is going. I remember examining that cabin and there's like a storage compartment.
What?
By golly, really?
Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. That at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Has anyone ever sued me? No. Why would they?
Very well. I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area on this cross-section plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting this potential extra passenger could have been situated? All right, so let me get the omnibus in the court record. Go inside. Yeah, I've read all this before. Aha. Okay, so there's that. Let's see, it seems to have a handle. Exactly, there's a storage compartment. All right. So I need to
point out that's like right here. Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here.
Oh,
There's a blood stain on. Yeah, that was where the guy got murdered. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Well, that's not exactly what I was going for, but it works. Maybe not.
it's quite possible. It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity.
This guy uses a lot of fancy words, and I'm not sure how many of them I'm pronouncing correctly. Do not consult me for help with the English language.
I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder.
I've got to be saying that one wrong.
In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo?
No! What? I can't even think of anybody else who's involved in this case. I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witness on the roof deck? Do I even can I access the... Okay, I can access the people. Have you ever played Honey Pop? No, I haven't. Okay, obviously not him. No. I don't know, maybe... He's only 32? I would have guessed he was in his 50s. Okay, that's the victim. Yeah, okay, I can't think of anybody. Susato's only 16? Wow. Okay, so... Yeah, no, I don't think there is anybody. Or I haven't... Should I just roll with I have an inkling? Try inspecting the knife. Why? An ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. Magnus McGildude's initial. And it's beautifully, gilded too. Or, yeah, I don't know. It must be very valuable, I should think. Ah, what is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything! A W? Yes. This is one of those, you know, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know it all. But what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh. Well, that idea was quickly quashed. Yeah, okay. If I don't name somebody, then this goes nowhere. Okay, let's look over the options. Not you, not you. Maybe I just say it's Magnus McGildude. Obviously not the prosecutor. Shoot. All right, if I get down to like one life, I'm just gonna start using a guide or something. I have an inkling. I have no idea.
Ugh, I have literally no idea!
But as a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. Go on.
This isn't just a case of going on, Mrs. Sato.
All right then, I'll go on!
The defense would like to put forward a name. Okay.
You are a fool. The reason, that response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learnt. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
This could be it. This could be the chance I'm waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... There is literally no one else it could be but this guy. I guess it could be Bruce. Lady first. An apprentice millionaire. Millionaire? What? He was on the roof deck. On the roof deck. I'm just gonna try this guy. Because he was literally in the cabin. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded.
Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant!
Objection!
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zix!
Zex? I don't know.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly.
What are you trying to say?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand.
Okay, jerk. Wait a minute. Were there 3 people inside that cabin?
When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It is the very premise on which the case is built.
Oh! I get it. So Magnus was sitting across from them, not next to him. That's where the third person comes in. But that premise may be wrong.
What?
If the victim really was sitting besides Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Try pronouncing Zex with the heavy German accent on the K. That doesn't help me at all. I don't know how Germans pronounce their K's. Zex. I don't know. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of the events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting besides the victim that night. A third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on the passenger's hands. Both of them.
Objection! And who is this third party?
Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary! Order, order, order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection! The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused. Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I couldn't see the rest of them, though. I could see the rest of them, though.
Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir.
And what particular styles of hats did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. Faust?
I'm afraid I don't remember.
And you call yourself a hatter?
The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in the cabin.
How can you be sure?
Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin which he traveled.
Uh-oh. He's right. There was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Oh, but I know a way.
Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police.
But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely?
Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act.
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Demand he testifies. We got nothing else. That's actually really good voice acting. Well, thank you. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out here, I say!
It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say? Oh, yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be heard.
Like the word Zeeks in German would be pronounced like the word Sieg, which means victory. Sieg, huh? So I would pronounce his name Siegs? Okay, I'll try and remember that.
Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear.
Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
I don't know what the heck voice I did for him, so I'm just gonna make one up right now.
To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Begad, no! 'Tis not in my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all, or keep me mouth shut?
Hello, King Real. Tell us what, Mr. McGilded.
The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true?
Aye, 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it.
What? What?
Aye, 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
You...
What? Why would you do that?
No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry. So I am, Lord Van Siegs. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
I sound like Lord Farquaad when I do that voice.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
Child?
If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this courtroom, just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
So he's saying he was helping a child to run away from the scene of the crime?
And who was this young child of whom you speak?
That I don't know.
You don't know.
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
Huh? Whoa, what?
Ah! Smoke! Fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away! After them! It's no use! What's going on?
The child would have been a witness then, right? Probably. But, I don't think we're gonna be finding her anytime soon.
Be careful, Mr. Nadahodo! Cover your face!
Bailiff! Don't let the accused escape! Secure the omnibus!
I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
What the hell just happened? We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. Oh, friggin' boy. I really didn't think this would be going on that long, but I think we got a whole other thing to worry about. All right. Let us keep going then. 18th of February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened in there?
Mr. Nadahodo! I managed to find out what happened!
Miss Susato!
I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade. A type of exploding device that releases smoke.
I didn't know they had smoke grenades back then. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. Huh. I guess that's been a thing for a while.
They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long.
Actually, they have guns in this time. It would make sense they have smoke bombs. But who would have done something like that?
The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently.
Flee the courtroom? Why?
Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear.
A young girl? Then could it be the other passengers that Mr. McGildude was just talking about? Well, this child is dumb. She went right into the lion's den when she had freedom.
My thoughts exactly.
So he wasn't lying. Oh! What's become of Mr. McGildude, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about. But he's not here!
I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with the young girl.
Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk. And for what possible benefit to herself?
There's another matter that's troubling me.
What's that?
The 20 pence.
Oh,
According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly.
But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers.
Which means the figures don't seem to add up again.
Unless one of them was a stowaway. She's right. That is strange.
Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away.
Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial.
We'll know soon enough, Mrs. Sato.
Yes!
All right. So now we've got a 15-year-old girl to cross-examine. Looks like it's going to be Emma Skye all over again. She looks like a mailman. Wait a frickin'. Oh, no. This can't be the same girl who was... Is this the Russian girl? No, that's not happening right now.
There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
Well, after that rather uneventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Siegs.
My lord.
I believe you have established the cause of the smoke, which veiled...
oops. Sorry. Accidentally pushed in the shoulder button.
which veiled proceedings earlier.
It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army.
Don't they normally use, like... Never mind. I was about to say, like, wouldn't they be using tear gas? But that's more for crowd control.
Good gracious! The army? What in the devil's name?
It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand.
Your name, girl. Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
Ahem. If I may, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGilded?
Tomboy defendant. Okay.
I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why is it that this wee lass was here in the first place? And why she tried to bolt like that? 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in this case.
Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. The young girl.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off.
Then Bigora? I don't know.
Then, begorra! A loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
Okay. Stopped watching an engaging video to watch the stream. Oh, well, welcome to the stream.
I remain somewhat baffled, I confess. But from what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct?
'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. The last was the 5th passenger, my lord.
Huh. Alright then. If you don't know what a pence is, it's literally a fraction of a pound. Oh, so it's like... so 5 pence is 5/100th of a pound, and a sterling of a pound sterling, and 26 pence the... Okay, so like a pence is like essentially what a penny would be to a dollar? Alright.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Witnesses.
Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Well, just bluff it till you make it, I guess. And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board?
There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as it were? Or, you were the first passenger, as it were. I see.
Aye, and that's why I took the back side as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is.
Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat?
By all means. 'Tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite, the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well.
A loud thud, you say? And a scream?
Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise.
So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed?
Hell now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor.
You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, you did hear a scream?
Ah, from the seat above you on the roof deck, I presume?
Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from the cabin inside.
Or inside the cabin.
But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes.
You sat him up? The victim, you mean?
That I did, on the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you?
Yes? That's exactly what you're supposed to do? And then you call the cops?
'Tis common courtesy, so it is.
No, it isn't!
I find that a little hard to believe.
Ah, Lord Van Seat. Now, why would that be?
You wait to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is.
Well, now, as you know, I'm something of a special line of business.
Or I'm in something of a... What does that have to do with anything?
The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest.
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead.
Because you're scamming them.
So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble.
We'll be doing great. Great to see you playing Ace Attorney. Oh, thank you. Tenko? Parks? Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there?
Heavens alive, no! I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out whys and wherefores first.
The whys and wherefores? It's surprising how many witnesses have sinister intentions in these games. You're not wrong.
Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self just do the same?
Yes. That scream says he heard... The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim.
So I did, sir. So I did. As far as I could see, that is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, now, 'tis a queer ting? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside.
Good gracious! Under your backside? In the cabin, under the seat.
And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage.
Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember?
Yes, of course. The whole bus was, submitted as evidence.
This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside.
Does it need me to, Alright, here. Just so, maybe I can update the court record. Yeah. This is just how these games work sometimes. You can examine something, but it actually just wants you to examine it later for the updating of the court record. What the? Now it's completely empty inside. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. You're hopeless, Naruhodo.
And that's when I found her.
There was a child in there all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. You say she was hiding herself?
Aye, that's right. 'Twas hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest.
Ugh, you're really overreacting this.
Still and all, I pulled her out from under there. And sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee, chinwag with her.
The seat opposite.
That's right. Just next to the dead gentleman.
You sat a 15-year-old girl next to a dead body?
You sat the young girl next to a corpse, sir?
Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my possession can all too often find himself in mortal danger.
I don't even know where to begin with you.
So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see.
It's a dead body right next to her. Like, get out of the cabin at least. Then again, if you got out of the cabin, she'd probably try and run. You don't win in that kind of situation. Imagine purposefully giving loans to people who can't pay it back, burdening them for life. Oh, yeah. That's called a college loan.
And when I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time.
Presumably, that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats.
Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have been this young... he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly.
In other words, the previous witnesses did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
Aye, my lord.
It's not exactly like a penny. The pence is different denominations. Works a lot like US coins, where 25 cents is... sounds pretty much like, whatever. It sounds pretty similar, though.
I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight.
Student loan debt is the leading cause of depression in new graduates. Well, you know what? Here, I just got a simple solution for them. Stop taking out stupid loans. You don't need college to succeed. College is a scam. There you go. End of story.
It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature.
Well, I will say I wouldn't mind, you know, locking the interest rates. Like, some people have taken out loans for $50,000 and end up paying back like $150,000. Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. But some people really do just take out a stupid loans.
And readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl.
After that, of course, with the screams from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses.
Thank you. I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is this girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds.
Relieving
people of their purses.
She's a thief?
What's commonly called a pickpocket.
What?
This girl here? A petty thief? Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question! Oi, yo! Ah! How dare you! What is the meaning of this? Ah!
She just shot a smoke bomb and dipped.
The girl! She's gone!
Open your eyes. Who's that? Huh? Okay.
I'm over here.
Good gracious! How?
What was the point in that little sidestep?
I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught up on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on. That's what is in your heads, ain't it?
No, not at all. I am terrible with British slang. This is a court of... Okay. Wow. Oh, boy.
Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do.
Well, cool, because you just admitted to it in a court of law, and now you're going to be tried for that. Mark my words, lady. Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs?
Oh, this? Yeah, this is in the bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best.
Ah! Don't wave that thing in my direction again!
You know, I think you can get detained in a court for simply having something that looks like a gun or a weapon. What I do know is that you're not allowed to carry weapons into a courtroom. So, yeah.
So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question?
Tis all right, lass. You can tell them the truth now.
Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said.
The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please.
Are we not going to do something about the fact that she's carrying a smoke bomb gun?
You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question.
Alright, if I have to.
These games really are stupid sometimes.
So I snuck inside the carriage before they looked up the horses and...
Oh, they hooked up. You're supposed to say hooked up.
So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses and just like...
And just like always. I can't read today.
But it was a right old wasted time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell ya. You can't see a blind thing that's hiding in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then, after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out in me skin. I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that, this swell found me. He helped me get away, mind.
Yes. He let you go. You need reading... I don't need reading glasses. This game needs to stop using slang. That shit's impossible to read. Based game. Yeah, kinda.
I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord.
You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact.
How?
As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I was sat that night. And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat.
Oh, that was the judge.
And the cubbyhole of which you spoke is underneath the seat, I presume?
Do you ever want to continue Earthbound? No, not really.
Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the young girl's stature.
Aye, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I put myself on the seat for the duration.
Ah!
So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young girl was ruined, when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your actions would result in your own innocence being called into question?
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass.
My goodness!
What a perfect gentleman!
My lord! This is a fine example of a man, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this! I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir!
Okay, that's one more juror.
With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
All right, all 6 jurors are on our side. How's the prosecutor gonna screw this up?
Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leading to a verdict of not guilty?
Mr. Naruhodo! This, well, it must mean...
It must mean what?
that we're victorious!
My main beef with the Phoenix Wright games is that it's like 90% dialogue. It's supposed to be 90% dialogue. It's a text adventure game. That's what they are. It's you can either classify it as a visual novel or a text adventure. There's supposed to be a lot of text. That's just part of the genre. Sergeant Lemon, you're essentially criticizing it for being its genre. We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Yeah, I called it. What the? Okay.
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of one of the monumental flaws in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day.
This is why normally the prosecution and defense are supposed to provide their whole cases, all their witnesses, and then the jury decides. Emotion.
The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature.
What do you mean, his true nature?
Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by police officers by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report.
Good lord!
Okay, so the prosecutor's making the case that the girl couldn't fit in there. I'm too much of a dried-up beta cuck to play visual novels. Well, then Phoenix Wright is... The Ace Attorney is not your thing, Sergeant Lemon.
The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGildered's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat.
What?! Who's the defendant? The guy in the purple suit and the tall hat.
Order! Order! How could such a devious
Contrivance? I don't know.
possibly have been affected, counsel?
Naturally, we must acknowledge the
Deficiencies.
Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the
Stop with the big words, you jerk. Constabulary.
in allowing this to happen. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty.
What? Oh, during the smoke bomb, somebody might have cleared out all the junk. I was wondering where all that stuff went.
Well, my Nipponese friend,
Me?
when the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find? What did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be?
Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman would be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Hello, Harrison Pineda? Hello. Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Siegs.
Well, counsel, do you have something to say on the matter?
How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of the little compartment under the seat of the omnibus? It wasn't empty. I mean, that's just the truth. I looked at it earlier. I really don't know if it's giving this... I don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as a counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there was a number of articles inside it, yes.
Are you sure, counsel?
Aura! Bewitched! What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here!
What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand.
Yeah, but what good is lying gonna do me? Oh, then again, I'm a lawyer. I'm supposed to know how to lie.
Why would you say something to compromise his position?
As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible.
Interesting.
'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella.
I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded.
Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interest here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That their cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken?
Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I'm starting to not like McGilded. It's a very, you really don't know what his motives here are.
I should like the jury to weigh in on the matters, I think.
That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain smooth running of the carriage. The guild's rules state that omnibus should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick purse are lying.
Shoot.
Ah!
I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, a lot of them.
What? Oh no!
It's a trick! Of course it's a trick!
Dang it! I was doing so well up until now.
Quite so. I must concur here.
Shoot!
With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems.
My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate.
Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is a matter of outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. What just happened? You set yourself up to fail. The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. You think the jury would make their decisions together. That's what they're supposed to do. At least, I think that's how it works in at least American law. Both sides, the prosecution and defense, they get to present their evidence, bring in their witnesses, cross-examine each other's witnesses, make their final statements, and then the jury is left to deliberate. So I snuck inside the carriage before I looked up at the horses, just like always. Didn't I read all this already? Oh, no, wait. No, I didn't. It was just that sequence was so long that, okay. So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its runs? Does the lawyer have a katana? Yes. Ryunosuke holds the katana of his deceased friend.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of spending a Joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it?
I suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. No, it doesn't. You kind of got to get loans to start businesses usually. You know, you need places to establish your business.
Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants.
Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. Fourth paying passengers at 5 pence make a piece, making the 20 to which the cabin testified. And one little scapegrace. And one little scapegrace riding for free.
The Red Conch of the driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? So that's when I slipped into the carriage and kept myself in under the seat. Nice and easy, right?
But hiding in place is but your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach. No.
Yeah? There's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seemed to bother much.
And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia.
Easy. They probably just put all that stuff back in there after the girl ran for it. By them, I mean, McGilded and maybe Gina here.
Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you.
It seems we've reached the end of the line of inquiry. Continue.
A waste of time? Why is that?
Well, most nights I'm on my own. In the God permit, at least some of the time.
I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit?
This is the definition of a kangaroo court. Yeah, maybe. I'd say probably more Ace Attorney 1's court was, given the fact that, updated autopsy report. Like, here in America, that'd just be a blatant violation of the Constitution.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while.
And that's when you came out of your hiding place and get away? And that's when you came out of your hiding place and get away?
That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't bulge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
Do you mind to tell us that, do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin?
Yeah. Right, mister?
To be sure, to be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushions you've been sat on and find a child now, do you?
So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. This case has been, like, freaking 6 hours so far, and I don't feel like I'm any closer to finding out who the real murderer is. Oh, right, I'm supposed to press this. The smoke bomb gun is totally made of the parts in the cubby. I'd have to take another look at it. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a shot. Most days I push the cushion up with me. Oh, most of the days I push the cushion up with me head and have a look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at whose I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other ones, see? So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey riding right over me head. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small, dark places. Feels too much like I've been thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages. So it's Hobson's choice. Wait, I forgot there was a murder. I thought it was a burglary trial. Nope, it's a murder trial. Why doesn't... here, in case you need proof. Yeah. Murder trial. That is very much murder. I mean, if she stole his wallet after he died, I guess you could throw in an extra charge. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's a reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyway, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. After a while, I hear this loud bang. What was this bang? When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Australia was once a penal colony for prisoners, so was the U.S. state of Georgia in the early 1700s. Really? Georgia? Georgia, of all places. Huh. I could understand somewhere like maybe, Florida, Alaska, Hawaii, or heck, even like New Mexico, because it's a desert, but Georgia? Huh, I'll have to look into that. I kind of want to find out why. Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream, involuntarily? That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes?
Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab the victim, could it not?
A stab doesn't make a bang sound, though, unless you hit the side or something. The side of the cabin.
Well, girl, did you see what happened at the crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. I pushed the cushion up and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke
had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. I hate slang.
That matches Mr. McGilder's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me.
sorry, I retracted the original. Here it is again. Australia was once a penal colony, so was the US. Yeah. Never mind. I got confused.
I snuck back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking.
Last statement to press. And when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out from the hiding place?
I was scared stiff. I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all.
Next to the victim, Mr. Mason.
Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. The carriage lurched a bit, and he'd ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful.
Dead corpse falls right on you. Oh my god, that's horrifying.
Both me hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog.
Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct?
He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know me name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard some stuff from up top, from up above. Someone screamed.
Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume.
Well, I didn't want to see no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury have decided the defendant was innocent.
For one brief shining moment, yes.
It's clear that they are all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would cinch the verdict we want.
Yes, I think you're right. I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Something about the third statement? Can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? He doesn't seem to care. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with my head and have a look out the crack. Then I have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. Thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other ones, see. Some of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. For some reason that night, the Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. I'm not seeing anything particularly wrong with the statement. For that reason, you were able to push the cushions up to peek out, I see. Truth is...
Well, no.
Huh? Okay, well, this is new. I ain't too happy about small, dark places. Feels too much like I've been thrown in the clink.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Consul? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking of something to yourself. Oh, no. It was nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad. Shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see. Yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. I mean, being stuck in a cabin for a few months, it does things to a man. It changes you. Aye.
And I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem much louder as well.
Louder, huh?
Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe.
Miss Lestrade, did you hear something that night? Anything? An unnatural noise, perhaps?
Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring.
Bejabbers.
Bejabbers! There's no need to tell the whole world of me
Foibles? I don't know these old words.
you little scamp.
What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue.
Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's profoundly important. My lord! I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important.
Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing.
Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it.
I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Counsel. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating the last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me.
That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. Yeah. Okay, so this is a new statement. Let's see.
I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was his snoring.
Do I have anything, I guess I'll just press it for a moment. So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hid yourself?
Not exactly, no.
Sorry?
Well, there was no one else in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me.
And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct?
Yeah. Would you Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mug!
Would you Adam and Eve it, eh? What? What does that even mean?
So then, all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to I'm driving his pigs to the market. Storing like an old dog he was.
Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? It doesn't add up. Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
At odds? Are you sure, man?
Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zieks realized it too. What do we realize?
Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least.
Yes, my lord.
I expect you to demonstrate this.
I know what it is.
I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court.
According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think! I know exactly what to do. There's something else she should have heard. Show a person. Aha! Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound is very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. This guy. Remember? He was saying that he knocked on the door, but they ignored him.
Take that!
It would seem phantoms are at work again. This time in my Nipponese friend's ears.
I could.
Was that not right?
No sound is apparent to me at all.
Oh.
Allow me to introduce you to a sound that will be very real indeed, however. The sound of your death thors.
Yeah! He's right. That was loud. Okay, I have no idea what to do now. That was literally my only guess.
Well then, counsel.
According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. Oh, man. Something else she should have heard. Considering there was someone else besides Gina and Oh, the victim! Of course, I should have heard him. Or they should have heard him. Alright, come on. The victim. Alright, present. Online fool. Hello.
Thrice fired Mason.
Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus.
Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel.
Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus, is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? Mind showing my art in the Gilded? Thanks in advance. Sure, I'll do it towards the end of the stream. And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded?
That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight.
So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at the time?
Did I not just say as much? I was traveling with anyone else. I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? No, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? waiting for this swell to leave. She never heard it open once. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage?
Oh!
We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts.
Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Seeks.
Yes, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency with Miss Lestrade's statement.
It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend.
What are you talking about? Is this pre-recorded? No.
You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more.
Shoot. It's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that.
Uh-oh.
Son of a... Ugh! She didn't even say anything!
I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars.
And neither can I!
Mr. Foreman!
I didn't want to judge the girl because she has some less than
salubrious ways. Frick you old people with your frickin' old words I've never heard.
But I must say, I cannot abide liars.
And we're doomed.
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo! That's 5 members of the jury leading towards guilty!
Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing.
Yeah! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for? Unless you're useless Eastern...
Amaden?
This is carnage. It's perfect.
Juror number 2 is the only one left.
Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going...
I know. We can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilda's innocence. The judge will rule, and we'll have lost.
I very much wanted to believe the words of the one of London's most respected gentlemen. But... those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Hmm? Yes, the witness's last statements seem to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case.
What are you saying?
Counsel!
I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean?
Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prolong my adjudication. Explain yourself at once.
When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time as testified by the witness in the stand.
And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage.
If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus?
How did the first two witnesses, the crime... How did the first two witnesses witness the crime scene again? You mean the two people currently at the stand? Well, one of them's accused of the murder, the other one was hiding at the scene. There's only one way to explain how the victim came to being inside the carriage. He was already there. There was another entrance. He was put there after he died. Well, that one seems the craziest, so... Obviously, the victim must have been placed in the carriage after he was killed.
Objection!
Tell me, my learned friend, what was the function of that obviously in your last sentence?
Well said, Lord Van Siegs. The obviously is troubling me also.
No, no! That's really not the point. The point is that the victim must have been moved into the carriage afterwards. I meant Bruce and Lady. I don't know who that is.
Then answer me this. How could a cadaver have been placed inside a moving carriage?
Well, obviously,
I shall have to penalize the defense heavily for this.
shoot. Ugh. I must learn to ramble more relevantly.
The penalty is evidently not heavy enough, judging from those Nipponese eyes. So I ask you again. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus?
Okay, well, there's only one other thing I can try. There's another entrance. There's no way there's another entrance into this stupid cabin. Unless... You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witness would have been able to see quite clearly. It's not good for us. Alright, I doubt I can open it. The Phoenix Wright Omnibus, ain't that sweet. Alright, there's definitely only one entrance inside, so... He was already in there. Clearly, he was in there already from beforehand. Oh, give me a break. It's the same dialogue, so it really was like there's another way in. I don't get these games sometimes. There's no speed up button for the text either. Okay, looks like if you hold the button, the text might speed up. No, actually, I just don't get it. There's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way. What, that's wrong too? Oh no, this dialogue is different.
I wonder what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic.
Wait. Actually, if he was murdered on the top of the cabin and they dropped him in through the window, That would explain the bang! Damn it, why am I only realizing this now?
But behold, the omnibus is here for us all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with the door. The other only has only windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open, in short. There's no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection.
But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered.
Oh, really?
Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin.
All right, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here is the omnibus which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you purpose the victim enter the cabin?
I better save. All right. Right here. Right in the center of my crosshair is that damn window.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight!
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me at a loss for words. However,
Objection!
Skylight may as well have been large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
so you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your, Adele brain theory?
Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claim to have heard a loud thud such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor.
Yes, which has already been explained. And the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with a dagger.
Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witness described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact?
Good gracious!
Perhaps, in fact, that it was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin? Let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it!
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin? That's simply impossible.
How can you be so sure?
Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passenger roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony.
Well, yes, that's true, but... Hold it. Oh, it's him. Mighty humble fella. Make a wee comment here. Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified afore said none of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. 'Tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Oh my. My goodness. Surely not.
Those two chaps on the roof?
You mean the ones who stuck that knife into the man were...
Ah! Holy crap. Oh, this has got to be them. Oh, here we go. Hello, GCD. How are you? I'm good. Thank you, NightCon. How are you?
Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer?
What the hell is he doing?
You rotter! He said, you rotter! What are you insinuating?
This is a flaming outrage! I have a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute!
He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I.
Mr. Fairplay.
You're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker!
And me, a very angry hatter.
Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts! It's a disgrace! It's scandalous! I protest! I protest in the strongest possible terms!
This image. Oh, that's funny.
That's right, I protest too, about you rotten scoundrel!
Order! 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 This is not the time, witnesses! I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand! Return to the atrium at once! But, this is beyond reason, my lord! It's outrageous!
It's very hurtful, you know!
My lord, if I may comment.
Go ahead, Lord Van Seeks.
It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seemed to fit the abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof.
Accuse? I never intended to.
It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You proposed to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have,
Intimidated? What? I'm losing my mind here.
You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation.
Ugh. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought.
What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify!
Huh?
I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on that fellow. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another.
If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once.
Oh!
What's happening, Mr. Nadahodo?
Spectators in the public gallery are... They're in a complete frenzy.
Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord? You You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony. In reference to the indictment. In reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord.
I didn't come here for this.
There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. Oh boy.
We were the only two people up on the roof deck. Dead or alive. I could swear to that.
If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you! We couldn't possibly have opened it!
If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine. How either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right, you see.
We're innocent, I tell you!
Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What?
According to the investigation by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings.
Oh, really? Oh, let me check something real fast. Open. This portfolio. Yeah. Come on. Let's take a look. Yeah, I've read all this before, for certain. It's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen. Alright, I'm just looking for a specific phrase. I'm guessing, okay, let me... Okay, only Bruce Fairplay's name is in here. Okay, well, I have no evidence for this then.
Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich.
Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy?
Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. So, at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Absolutely not, Dickin. And no. So I got all four of these guys I can look at.
No question about it! He said none at all! Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here.
Is that true, Mr. McGilded?
Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone, and nobody off inside, and nodded off inside almost immediately.
That is an outright lie! Without a doubt, you were engaged in...
Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all?
Ugh.
'Tis all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You do well to remember that.
Ah! I saw you with my own eyes!
This is going so well. Don't forget that you don't need to check if anyone is making comments, since you would hear a sound that tells you that one of them is making a comment. Okay. So that's gonna happen every time. Fair enough, fair enough.
Hold it!
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark. Perhaps too dark to see clearly. No, I haven't been here long, but it's really tired. 1 in the morning here, but I'll sure tune into the next stream. All right, have a good night.
Is this some kind of a lock?
Is this some kind of a joke, he said? Is what this is? Or is that what this is?
Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly?
Are you fair dinkum, sir?
Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you.
I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold.
But it was warm inside the cabin.
And if you did manage, your eyelids would freeze shut, and you'd never open them again.
That's extreme.
It was extreme, I tell you. And we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked.
I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear ye at all.
That's a lie! I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone.
Now, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. 'Tis hardly surprising.
Seeing things! Seeing things!
I wish it was cold where I lived. I like the cold better than the heat.
I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point.
Ah, you!
Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in the case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about.
This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really.
Neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. Is there anything about that man in the... I can't go to the people. Why can't I go to the people section? Why does the game get to choose when I go to the people section? I could go to the people section whenever I want in the previous games.
Hold it!
So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before?
Oh, LeMay, no. Not once, never.
He had never met the man before, he said. Never!
And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either?
That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir.
No, I imagine not. You see? How many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remote...
Oh, neither of...
Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin.
Excuse me.
Mr. McGilded?
Yes, counsel. What can I be doing for you?
Or you four? Did the witness's last statement give you a pause for thought somehow?
Not the remotest connection, is that right? Now, I wonder...
What are you insinuating now?
Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, so it has.
Huh?
If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date.
I beg your pardon?
You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir.
At an unconsiderable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion.
Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crime off on another?
Ah!
And young Mr. First.
Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir?
You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about over your head. Is that one of your own creations, is it?
Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door.
The perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is.
Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch.
Customers. Such as thrice-fired Mason? Oh. There was a photograph printed of the victim submitted as evidence afore, my lord.
Ah, you mean?
Yeah, that's a poor man's hat for sure.
I can't help thinking that the poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, would you say?
Oh! That's one of my hats.
Aye, that it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours.
Oh,
The sort of customer I'd wager you could have a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods.
oh no, sir. Absolutely not, sir.
Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case.
Oh dear.
You little weasel. Ah!
He's better at this than I am.
Gosh, Mr. McGilded certainly has been through his research, hasn't he?
Well, he is being accused of murder, so...
Please, don't let little,
what's this? Hat Hunter Award. Yay, I got an award!
please don't let me little interruption hold up the proceedings.
Okay, we couldn't possibly have opened it. That didn't update the, Okay, so we've got some new info, I guess. Are you quite certain about that? The skylight was shut the entire time?
I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute.
He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said.
Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see? It's shut fast now. Just like it was that night.
So it is, of course. The fella the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it. Still and all.
What?
Just looking at the size of the thing, you'd understand.
Ah! Now hold on a minute there, sir. the size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we?
Let's stop biting our cane, shall we?
I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when I broke wind loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happened.
This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First.
I'm just kind of gonna go ahead and ignore it.
Oh, I just meant to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see? But just my luck. I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me. I went red as a rogue, I did.
Are you expecting me to sentence you?
Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was...
Oh, okay. There's a voice. When I was inside the cabin of shame. Hello, young lady. You seem to have something to say.
Excuse me.
I love how that sentence will either sound completely wrong or fit. Please don't let me little interruption disrupt you. Depends on accent and pronunciation. I guess so. Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade!
It opens.
Hmm?
The skylight. That is what you're talking about, right?
Oh, crap. Wait, was that the fucking flashbang sound from Call of Duty when it bangs on the ground? That's funny.
All them skylights open. Dead easy.
More easily than you can load that weapon?
That's a lie, I tell you! Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof of the deck, one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out my ears.
Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be
Logicing?
to be logicing on the subject of your criminal activities.
Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch and jumped right through.
What?
Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top. That's why you can't open them from the cabin.
The skylight opens from the roof deck?
Bailiff! Climb up on the roof of the omnibus and verify the witness's claims.
Word.
Ah!
Oh, my heart!
See? Welp.
Order, order, order! So, it appears that this street girl's statement is quite true.
I don't believe it. Skylight opens. And from the roof deck.
Mr. Nadahodo! This could be the clue we've been looking for.
Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Investigate? Oh, I get it. So first things first, I need to examine the skylight so that it updates in the court record. or something. So the skylight was fastened shut before.
But now the catch has been undone. We should be able to open it.
Nice. Alright, so that's probably nice and updated. Let's present. Actually, let me save first, because I have one thing left. Alright, now we'll present.
Objection.
Oh. Maybe I was thinking too far ahead. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I get to see what a game over looks like in this game. And you get the chair.
Thank you, Council, that will do. I've seen enough. According to the powers vested in me by Her Majesty the Queen, I declare no further examination necessary. As such, I will be requesting the final decisions from the members of the jury. Are you ready, Mr. Foreman?
Certainly, my lord.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will announce your findings to the court. In turn, please.
Guilty.
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 I hereby find the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, guilty. I thank the good ladies and gentlemen of the jury for their swift and insightful completion. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Ouch. Retry. Oh, I can retry from this scene? No. Actually, resumes a saved game. Okay. Don't forget, you can also enter the omnibus in case... I mean, I already done that a couple of times. I don't think it would change anything. I can try, I guess. Not really sure what it'll do. Whoa! Hold on. Is that blood?
Yes, it does open very widely, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through. Certainly, Mr. Nadahodo.
Why someone like me?
Ah!
What is it?
Look! Just here! Look at this!
That's... without a question. It's blood!
It's blood!
Why would there be a blood stain there?
Surely. It can't be unrelated to the case, can it?
Okay, so that's what I needed to find. Thanks, Jeremy. Now we present. Actually, you know what? Let me just... I know it may seem pointless to do it at this point, but... just so I don't have to go through all the dialogue of the thing again. Alright. Present. Bang.
Objection.
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach. And immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts. And the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible on the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom.
What? That's a humbug! Ah, you can't possibly have any evidence!
No, you can't! I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you! It's impossible!
Irrefutable proof. Here in this courtroom.
Counsel,
My lord!
I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly within the omnibus is the evidence which you allude? You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell from the roof deck through the skylight.
Okay, well then what was the point of the whole sequence? You could easily have just had this part in by itself, and it's like you gotta look for the blood. I don't know. Oh, wrong button. Does appear very wide. Yada 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 yada. Yes, we know it's blood. We could easily have done this without needing to update the court record, you know. I don't know. I don't know what their thinking was behind this.
Got it!
By Jupiter! Is that blood? Oh!
This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open.
What?
And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening.
Oh my!
And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime.
No!
Even though I would never really give help unless it was all revealed. Well, I appreciate your help.
Order, order, order! But the blood could have sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the chest.
No, it couldn't.
And only found its way to that one particular spot on the skylight? Sure, and that would be very convenient. Ugh. And let's keep in mind that the skylight can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I?
Glad to see that you're back. Thanks. Mr. Ark has arrived.
There's no way to know for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean.
Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? Tis all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fellow dropped from a fair height right above there. Right there, so it is.
What? No!
But it can't be! It's all...
Lies! My fellow juror members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we?
I believe we can. Yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom.
So, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they?
Live tweeting a freaking court case. That's what it looks like right there.
I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Son of a bitch, will you shut up?
A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded.
Oh? And what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Siegs?
A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void.
How? What? Why?
For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
What? What are you talking about? It's all there for us to see. And it's clearly blood.
I personally attended to Scotland Yard investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no such blood smear existed in the carriage. At least, not until this trial began.
But
Are you suggesting, Lord Van Siegs, that the stain of blood was...
Fabricated, my lord? Yes, and while this court has been in session.
what? You've got to be freaking kidding me. What a paveler. Or Halver? I don't know. Must I say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Siegs. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts.
Adapt the facts? What does that even mean?
When you wield a fortune of the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to, concoct. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir.
Lord Van Siegs, this will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel? Oh, no! I think it's fair to say, this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if yous will all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone have possibly put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time that court has been in session.
My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words.
As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial? If you're asking me, I think could have been possible. I mean, there was a giant smoke screen earlier. So I feel like I'm walking into a trap every time I come to a decision in these games. Well, you only live once. All right, well, during the smoke screen, it could have happened. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility.
Oh?
Good gracious! Explain yourself, counsel!
Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this, deceit.
Deceit?
Or deceit.
I'm sure everyone remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take as a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. Yep, that happened. I guess I'll read it. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Nadahodo! Cover your face!
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape! Secure the omnibus!
I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
Remember the Justice for All case? I've not played Justice for All. The courtroom was filled with the smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside. Oh, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten, feckless gouger? Feckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me! 'Twas a wicked plot! 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is!
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relationship to the omnibus.
Inconsistencies? Such as?
Last super chat of the night. Hope these $6 will help. They will. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Start with storage compartment underneath the rear passenger's seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I've said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning.
Unfortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims.
That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut.
Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not.
Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things.
What do you think?
Sorry?
About the omnibus? Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus?
I have an inkling? My lord.
Yes, counsel.
There's one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial.
What?
What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare betray me, you little maggot,
You'd better start watching your... Okay.
Silence, McGilden. The court awaits the defense's clarification.
This trial keeps swinging one way and the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here?
I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. Where exactly is this alleged mark that you claim appeared at some point during the trial?
Dude, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to follow the game's logic. I'll have to try and find it. Okay, mark. There's a poster. Can't find anything out of place. Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start in 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition.
Oh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzling with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event.
Yeah, cool. I don't care. That's the blood soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously.
Yes, and the seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck.
Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passenger like that, I wonder?
Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp on here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight.
Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Anybody got a hint for me? I'll take them. That's a poster for the Great Expo... Yeah, okay, so there's 2 posters for the same thing. Neat. Come on. So we got that. Seat as a handle, it seems. Mark that appeared at some point during the trial. Can I... if only I could look at the court record right now. Okay, a mark. I think it's, at this point, it's really only only one of the 2 blood stains. Okay, so... Can I not open this anymore? It's actually rather hard when you sit on it. Only just wide enough for 2 gentlemen. An English gentleman would be dressed in... I don't care about any of this. These aren't neat. These aren't helping. You know what? I'm just gonna try this. If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this blood stain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Was it really not?
Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel.
So it really was that giant puddle of blood in the middle of the floor. Yikes.
Well said. Although, as an advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue.
I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. Uh-oh.
This trial is over.
Mr. McGilded?
I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but 'tis all over now.
But you're the defendant!
'Tis over, I tell you! Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, 'tis all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there now!
Well,
And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, the good-for-nothing raper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all! I'm scandalous, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Seeks. Well, my lord!
I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove it is alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue.
your lordship can't be serious.
Lord Van Seeks, what is your position?
The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present.
Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first.
What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies? No, that's ridiculous.
Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please.
Yes, my lord. The defense believes... Son of a... Now I don't know! I really don't know if he's guilty or not. Son of a bitch. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna trust my client. As Mr. McGilded's legal representative. I can't breathe. The air in here is stifling. But I'm this man's defense lawyer. There's only one thing I can say in this situation. I believe the defendant, Magnus McGilded, to be innocent of the allegations brought against him.
Thank you, counsel.
Here's to you, my Nipponese friend, and the most abject closing I have yet to hear in a court of law.
Order, order!
Wait, Oh no, was that an evil laugh? Oh, 'twas a grand decision appointing you as my lawyer, so it was a grand decision. You've saved one of London's most influential gentlemen, fella. You should be proud of yourself. Here, this is for your troubles. Ah! Your job here is done, fella. As some fine work you've done, so you have. What do you mean? 'Tis just the right honorable gentleman so succinctly put it afore. The trial can't go on any more. And your closing statement there was, how did you put it now? Nothing more than a formality. Oh dear.
I really don't know what to make of all this. Was all the evidence we've seen genuine? Or was it fake?
His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said.
The stinking rich are always guilty of something. You, mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely park.
Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to the trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea.
I thank you kindly, my lord.
I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
What? But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth.
Lord Van Siegs.
My lord.
The case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place.
My sincerest apologies, my lord.
But wait! When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Siegs ordered the evidence to be secured.
I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter.
That's so unfair!
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by the court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to prefer judgment. What?
Well, Lord Van Siegs, it's been a pleasure, so it has. As for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time?
'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try and change the law.
Magnus McGilded.
Good grief! You've more to say to me, have ye?
Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over.
Well, something to be looking forward to then.
I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, not guilty.
Huh.
I can't believe it! This is an outrage! They should have examined the evidence more!
What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end. With the defendant being found not guilty, obstinately as a victory for us.
That certainly was a long trial.
Yes, it was.
Your first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations.
And to you, Mr. Sato. Thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened.
Well, we didn't have enough time.
But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that.
The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection.
Aye, that you did.
Mr. McGilded. And the girl is with him, too.
Well, it seems the stories are true.
Oh? What stories?
About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure yous must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say?
Yes, definitely.
I heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not really sure I did anything.
What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man, then?
I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning.
You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. And 'twas water under the bridge. It's water under the bridge.
Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared.
But nothing's resolved.
There's only one thing that matters to me.
Oh?
Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that, odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not?
I suppose it is.
Now, the fine fellows of Scotland can take matters in hands and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay.
It's not that funny.
So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella.
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much.
Be whist. Ye humble people, are ye? Humble people, are ye? You from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this. Still in all, you deserve a reward.
Mr. Magnus McGilded! Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom.
Into the courtroom?
What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe.
I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule.
What?
Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection.
Sorry? What inspection?
They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I am told. I asked if I could be present myself.
They're going to examine it again? Now?
But you were declared not guilty. What?
Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absent pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain.
Something about that just doesn't seem right. And there he goes, a free man. You. Oh! I forgot she was here too.
Hey, yo, no, you don't need to do that!
Don't move!
Whereas I want to say, get a move on. Or, whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down?
You're a grown-up.
Sorry?
And I hate grown-ups.
Ah, there you are! Who's this? Huh? What? Who the hell is this?
Naughty, naughty! Running off like that!
Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now?
And taking that thing with you as well! I was looking forward to the trial run experimental...
Wait.
I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher! Ha!
What the? That's a bazooka! What is going on?
Oh? Do you want to play? You won't beat me!
Excuse me, but who are you?
Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
The inventor?
Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself.
Do we have to be surrounded in smoke, though? At all?
I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pitched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon.
Huh? What? What? I have no idea what this girl is talking about.
Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory. What for? To apologize, of course, silly, to my technician. What? You don't mean say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? Huh, I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me.
What is happening right now?
Fine, have it your way. Oh, good! I see. You see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end.
Yeah, because you got a freaking rocket launcher! I'm fairly sure that I'm fairly sure that what she wants is to not get shot by that massive gun of yours.
We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss.
Who's the scientific lolly? That's what I want to know. She was a lively one.
Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too?
Yes, you're right, but where to?
Oh!
We haven't had the time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff.
I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings.
But at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck.
Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night.
I guess that's one option. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park.
I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through.
I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elder one.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable.
You're about to make her not cry, Ryunosuke. No, I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. Yeah, you idiot. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room or a mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead, just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned. The case was far from over. Oh, interesting.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade!
Oh!
Bring water!
Oh, no!
How did this happen? I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed. No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating.
Oh, shit! Someone's inside!
No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. This can't be.
Oh, no. End. Wow. Okay, so maybe McGilded really isn't innocent. The Realm of the Reaper Award. Save your current progress? Hell yes, I'm saving my current progress. Well, I guess that ought to do it for now. Well, everybody, hope y'all enjoyed joining me on this stream. I guess, until next time, have yourselves a good weekend and a good week. Peace out. I bet Mr. McGilded set that on fire. Maybe.